Misty was an extremely popular name in strip clubs in the 90s. So sometimes when I'd be working the like circuit thing, you go around to different places, I would go to places where I wasn't allowed to use my name because they already had a Misty. And I'm like, well, that sucks because I'm legit Misty. But whatever. So sometimes I'd forget to use whatever stage name they gave me, which there were two. But anyway, that's besides the point. So one time I went to Houston, and I know Houston pretty well. And whenever I would work in Houston, it would always be like at Rick's or the Ritz. It was always at nicer bars, like nicer clubs. Um, so I go with this group of girls, and we end up at this place called the Trophy Club, which was horrible. It was horrible. It had like it looked like a hoarder's taxidermy den. Like there was a big lion on the stage. I mean, it was a pretty club, I guess, but I wasn't comfortable with that. Like, I mean, what are you supposed to do with a lion? Like, huh? How does that? I don't know. So anyway, I didn't go the next day because we were gonna be there a couple days, and I went to this house party where I got into some shit. Like, my friend's dude literally like threw me in the car and like we took off because he was like, "Those dudes were gonna kill you. You started shit." Whoops. Don't be grabbing my titties then, motherfucker. Not without permission. Permission is okay. So anyway, the next day I was like, whatever. I don't even know if I'm gonna work or what because these girls don't want to go to any of the like nice clubs. They only want to go to the trophy club. So I call my dad and I'm like, dude, let's hang out. But he kind of flaked, but didn't. He was just late. So I go to work and I'm there and I didn't even notice, but he was there. This motherfucker like showed up and I was on stage. I got off and he was there by the dressing room and I walked past and I'm like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, don't you work at like other places? Why are you in this fucking shithole? And I was like, it's because these bitches, man. They don't want to go to the real bars. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm chilling with him and I'm talking to him and he was like, you should go check out that dude. He's been watching us over here. Like, you could probably make some money off of him. And I'm like, okay. So I go and he was right. So then I come back and I'm like talking to my dad and he's like, hey, that guy over there. And I'm like, okay, I go. And he's on it, dude. Like, I'm hanging out with my dad. Like, he's like, there's money over there, go pick it up. There's money over there, go pick it up. Worked. And I love my daddy. So the whole time he's got a drink there because he liked he liked to drink a fucking lot. So he always had his drink there and it didn't even dawn on me, like, how the fuck is this motherfucker getting drinks? Like, my dad would never pay titty bar prices for a fucking drink. Like, no. So later, to make a long story short, like, I find out that he'd been ordering the drinks and putting them on a tab under Misty because I'm Misty. But he didn't realize that they had been calling me Holly. So I'm, paying tip out, leaving, and I see this chick, Misty, arguing. She's like, I don't have a tab. I don't have a tab. And I just walked through, like, I didn't even pay attention to it. Well, later, my dad's like, oh, and you got the drinks, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I kept putting them on a tab under your name. And I was like, you what? He's like, well, I was helping you make money. I figured, like, you would at least have the drinks. That's my dad. That's legit my dad. And no, he was ordering them, putting them on a tab for Misty. And then they made a tab for Misty, and she had to pay them. And his response was just like, well, that's the royalty she's got to pay to the one who actually owns the name. Shit happens, man. You got a joint?